Good morning, everybody. Wednesday, April 7th. 7th is a lucky day, everybody, 2021. Harry Glanz with our great panel. Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson, John Kolb, and Harvey Freed. Our special guest today is Matt Bush. Hi, Matt Bush. How you doing?
How are we today?
We're doing great. Before we get into it, everybody, I hope you're having a great day. It's beautiful outside, April 7th in Michigan today, allegedly, and I say the word allegedly because you never know around here. It's supposed to go up to 80 degrees today here in Michigan, which is unbelievable. And also, we're going to touch on a few topics, and I got to let the national topics of everything we're going to get into. We're really concerned about what's going on in Metropolitan Detroit and Michigan, the housing market, and whatever happened to that false narrative. And we're here to always give you accurate versus inaccurate information and disseminate what is accurate and what is inaccurate. What happened, everybody? And I'm going to start with Becky Alley because Becky, I hate to admit it, other than Matt Bush, you're probably the youngest person on this panel. Your expertise is unsurpassed. You're one of the top loan officers in the entire United States, along with John Kolb in the top 1%. Let me ask you this question. What happened to the talk of millennials not buying homes? What happened to that talk?
I mean, I don't even know if I was present for that conversation because I feel like millennials have been hot and heavy coming into this market. I feel like at first-time home buyer, they're waiting a little bit longer to be a first-time home buyer. I mean, you have first-time home buyers that are almost in their 30s now versus before people were buying houses when they're 21, 24. So that price point of millennials, end quote, right, is much higher. I mean, you have first-time home buyers that are entering the market in a $200,000 price point. So I don't know who said I don't think anyone's not buying houses right now because of where the rates are at.
I agree with that. Hold on, John Kolb. I want to ask Matt Bush. The math never really added up. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, the speculation is millennials just wanted to continue their college days. They wanted to move from a dorm with all their buddies and friends and work on group projects and go to companies and work on group projects, all live in the same little apartment complex and continue their college days. That's what the talk was. However, Matt, the math never really added up because the baby boomers are the ones that had the millennials. The baby boomers, the population of baby boomers outsurpassed every other population of growth. So if the math adds up in my mind to, if a segment of the highest population are having children and multiplying, wouldn't that mean that millennials would have to be more? And then where are they going to live, Matt Bush? So that was a false narrative, in my opinion.
Yeah, our parents' basement only lasts for so long. It gets eventually uncomfortable, especially like you said, if there's 2 or 3 kids. So someone's got to move out. Something's got to happen. I think what you're seeing, though, is, whereas the baby boomers, like Becky said, were buying houses right out of high school and right out of college. My generation, us millennials, we're pairing up. We're living with our boyfriends, girlfriends, partners. We're saving up together to buy that first house. So, student loans kind of got into our way, kind of taking a little bit of money from us on the monthly. So we're just taking a little bit longer. We're buying houses together as opposed to one at a time, which, like Becky said, allows us to purchase at a higher price point and buy that better house for us.
Excellent. Lisa Lawson, John Kolb is chomping at the bit here. I got to go with John for a second. Go ahead, buddy.
I mean, hey, I never said that millennials weren't buying houses. I said they don't know how to buy houses. They don't know how to communicate. And I'm going to stay on record with that. That, when you try to get somebody on the phone to go over what kind of programs you have, what kind of opportunities they have, and all they want to do is text you back. Hey, you're not going to get the accurate information if you're just going to work via text and via app. We've got a great app. I keep saying this over and over again. But guess what? That app only gets me so far. It doesn't tell me how old your kids are, if you had a bankruptcy, if you were ever divorced in a previous life, things that we need to know to accurately get you approved. So if you want to just text me back and forth all day long, I need another buddy. But if you want a real mortgage from a real professional, pick up the phone, call us, meet us in person, do what your parents used to do, because you know what? They knew how to do it, and you should learn from them as well.
Well, I love old school John Kolb.
Yeah, that was a little zinger right there.
Old school John Kolb. Lisa Lawson, what do you got?
Yeah, I have to reiterate, not that I want to knock on millennials. I have a younger brother who's still a millennial, but they have a tendency to, you leave a voicemail, say we need to connect, I want to go over some things with you, and they text you back, or they shoot off a quick email, and it's not the same as having an in-depth conversation about all the programs and things that could be available to them. They're going to miss out, and I know that nobody wants to pick up the phone and have a 20, 30, 40-minute conversation, which sometimes it can take, but that's how we make sure you're in the best program that's available to you, that we've maximized your credit to the best of its ability. So we know that you're getting the best rate that's possible. All those things require an actual conversation, not just a quick text, not just, screenshots back and forth, things like that. So it's super important. This is like the biggest purchase of your life, and this should be a priority at this point, especially whether it's your first house or your 10th house. Take the time and make sure you're getting all the correct information to do it right.
Now, hey, no, wait a minute, hold on. Who is a millennial? Because technically, if you put on the graph, I'm borderline. I could be considered a millennial. So I mean, what is really the age group of these millennials?
I think we're getting into it. I think the iGen or the Gen Z is really one that is having these issues where they're ever connected to their phone. The millennials
hey guys, here is the technical version, okay? A millennial is born between 1981 and 1994. Okay,
I'm a millennial.
1981 and 1994. So there's your answer to that question. But I want to wrap up the millennial conversation and go into Mr. Harvey Freed. Harvey, all-time low listings, all-time high prices. Is it going to slow down, Harvey Freed?
It's going to stay the same, I think, for several months. Definitely 2021 is going to be a lack of inventory. Over 35% of our buyers are those millennials that we were talking about. I find that, it's just like any group out there. Half the people want to engage in these difficult conversations or conversations about their future, and the other half doesn't. So I don't know. I don't want to pinpoint and say that one group's acting out a little bit differently versus the other, but I'm excited for 2021. I do have a lot of new buyers. I'm looking right here, a young couple here that are millennials. They're on their second home. So Matt Bush, what's better than grabbing a young couple that bought in the last 5 years, had success. Now they're going to turn that house, take some profit out of it, and move on to their next house for their family.
That's huge. Right now, even if you bought a house maybe even 18 months ago, you can probably still make about 20% on your investment. I was doing research in some of these markets. Houses are up 15, 20, 25%, just since 2020 already. So if you've got that equity in a house, there's no reason to not cash that in, roll that investment into, use your 1031, talk to your parents, your accountant, your mortgage banker, get on that phone call and say, hey, how can I take this $40,000, $50,000 of equity that I just woke up with overnight and maybe double the size of the house, maybe put
Matt, hey, I'm going to interrupt here because you got ahead of yourself, you guys. It kind of goes something like this for me. Matt, we can't even get into that conversation because right now people can't find homes. So the question to you, the next one was local housing shortage, all-time low listings. Okay, you can't find a home. So I want to sell my house. What am I going to move to? Forget about that. First-time home buyers. Local housing shortage, all-time low listings. Where do you see that for this selling season?
I'm hoping that interest rates start going up. I'm hoping that buyers fall out of the market a little bit. I think maybe that'll light a fire under the sellers a little bit because now they're getting less money for their house because they waited a little bit too long and buyers are not as pre-approved as they thought. And that kind of gets sellers into the market so they don't lose any more equity in another quarter point. And we lose another $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on their house. And it, really motivates sellers to come out. It pushes some buyers out. We get more to a balanced market. Not going to be at 6 months days on market, but maybe we get into the 2.5 before the end of the summertime. Maybe if our interest rates play like the market would dictate they do.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Speaking of Armageddon.
Becky Alley, fact or fiction in your world? Fact or fiction? Okay, there's a slowdown in the next 6 months.
That would be circle does not get the square. That would be fiction.
Correct. And why is that?
It's the spring market, right? So you are naturally going to get more inventory on the house, right? Or I mean, on the market. So these sellers that are hesitant to become buyers, and it's just naturally going to happen. And with the interest rates kind of fluctuating, okay, but buyers still have the ultimate buying power. So if they are looking to get out there, it's still the time to do it, because in 6 months, that same house is going to be more money, because these pricings, or the pricing of the market now, is going to catch up to these sales. And I really just don't see it slowing down the next 6 months at all.
I love it. Lisa Lawson. Well, wait, Matt, wait. Lisa Lawson, fact or fiction?
Yeah, I'm going to say right now it's fiction. I think there's a lot of things that are going to make the market kind of correct itself. And I do think that rates aren't obviously going to be going down. I mean, I'm not saying they won't fluctuate up and down on a daily basis, but overall they're going to be going up. So I think that's going to hopefully motivate people to get this done now so they can lock in at the lowest rate. They're going to sell their house into somebody who's going to buy it at the lowest rate. So I'm hoping that it kind of does the opposite. Summer's always been a big hot home buying season. I think last year it kind of slowed down with the pandemic, and there was so much unknown in the beginning of the spring. People weren't listing, people weren't buying, people were refining like crazy. But I think that, we've been in this pandemic for over a year now. We kind of know how to handle it, and I think that initial, oh my gosh, what do we do? Like that happened last spring is gone. And, I'm hoping that people really, after they've been in their house and cooped up for a year with their families, pets, significant others, realize it's time for an upgrade and get moving.
All right, Matt Bush, fact or fiction? Listen to the question.
You got it.
Fact or fiction? Within the next 6 months, prices are going to go down.
I'm guessing fact. Now here's why. Here, hey, I got some stuff here.
What'd my boy get on his SAT? Go ahead, I'm listening.
12 months ago, I was meeting with buyers and they were super anxious to get into their first time home. Now I'm doing buyer consults. Buyers are more hesitant. They're wanting to use less of their pre-approval. I got people that are pre-approved up to $400 or $400,000, but they're thinking, hey, I want to stick at 3.25, 350. I don't want to go that high. I think the trepidation of buyers in the market, they're being more patient, they're more hesitant. So you're still seeing these multiple offers, seller or buyer agents fighting to get into that door. But I think we're getting to a crest where buyers are going to get a little bit more hesitant, more patient, and it's going to force the market to move that way. So, I think by, late July, August, especially once school starts, we're back face to face. I think there's going to be a lot of people still playing musical chairs, and there's still going to be I think there's going to be a lot of transactions late into the year, unlike we've seen in the past.
John Kolb, listen to the question very carefully. 6 months, within 6 months, it's April 7th. Within 6 months, you're going to see prices come down. Fact or fiction?
I say fiction on prices coming down. I understand what Matt's saying, and I do agree with a little bit of it. There's no inventory out there, so it's going to cause the prices to stay where they're at or go up a little bit. I do think that there will be less production going on, but that's because there's no inventory. That doesn't mean that we aren't going to be, or Matt's not going to be running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to help people find homes and working more for less. And I think that's just going to happen, unfortunately, for all of us. And but I do see prices staying where they're at. We said this last year, and it's only worse this year. So I'm going to go with fiction on that. I do understand what Matt's saying. I agree with it a little bit, but I don't see the prices turning because of it.
Okay, Harvey Freed, fact or fiction? Listen to the question. Here we go, everybody. Fact or fiction? The multiple offers on purchase transactions will continue through the summer. Fact or fiction?
That is a fact. I'm going to go with John Kolb on that. The lack of inventory is going to constantly keep the pressure on buyers. They're going to have to overbid. They're going to have to give the appraisal guarantees. We've talked about in the past the inspection guarantees. The reason there's just so many people out there, the desire to upgrade your home because you need office space, the desire because you want the financial gain, the desire if you're already a homeowner, you're going to get that house on the market. You want to get top dollar. And then, of course, you'll be facing the consequences of now you have to go out and find a house.
Excellent. Excellent. Matt Bush, question for you. Not a fact or fiction question. It's a current events question. Let's talk about appraisals for a second. With all this insanity, with all the insanity that we're seeing in this hot market, are you running into or have you run into, and do you think that it will continue maybe to have some appraisal issues with values going up so fast and multiple bids and people putting in insanely overbidding on houses if they want to get a house. Let's talk about the appraisal part of that equation.
Yeah. I can't think of a deal I've done in the last maybe 2 months that didn't either have an escalation clause, an appraisal guarantee, and the difference was decided by whose appraisal guarantee was higher. So it's no longer, how much possession after the close it is. It's no longer, anything else except, hey, if my appraisal comes low, who's willing to pay me the most? And that's the circle that's getting the square these days. So I think, with the lack of inventory, I think that the appraisers are having more time to go over comps. I think they're seeing the trends of the market. So I think it's kind of a 50-50. I hear still some are coming back low, but I think buyers are used to it and they're willing to put a little bit more money into it because they know that's the game they're getting into right now. And great lenders are kind of preempting people and working on loan programs to make them comfortable with making that decision.
Yeah, hi everybody. We're joined by Matt Bush here with our panel: Becky Alley, John Kolb, Lisa Lawson, Harvey Freed, and myself. Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Equal Housing Lender. It is Wednesday, April 7th, and we're giving you all the pertinent information for what's going on right now in the real estate market. Nationally, turn times on appraisals are taking 2-3 weeks. We're lucky in metropolitan Detroit. When I say metropolitan Detroit, Lisa Lawson, we're a little shorter than that. On the outskirts, it's taken 2 to 3 weeks for sure. Why is that, everybody out there? Because everybody is busy. It's just a fact of life right now, and that's why you have to be prepared. Becky Alley, in your world, you're extremely busy right now. You're dealing with a lot of purchase transactions right now, and this is not a fact or fiction question. It's a current events question. Let's talk about those multiple offers. Is there any offer that's going in on a house that doesn't have competition?
Not to my knowledge. I spend a lot of time on the phone with first-time home buyers. I spend a lot of time on the phone after their offers have been submitted, speaking to the listing agent, just kind of reiterating that our buyers have been fully vetted. We've looked at their documentation. I had one where I think there was 10 offers of the list.
And she's frozen.
And hi. Is anybody going to sing the song from Frozen right now? Lisa Lawson, why don't you go ahead and pick up where Becky was?
Yeah, I mean, like she was saying, it's a very, very competitive market.
That Matt was
there you
saying.
are. Hi,
Oh.
She's back.
Oh,
You were frozen.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Am I still here?
Adina, I heard Adina Menzel coming on singing the song. I mean, what am I talking about here? Go ahead, Beck. Sorry about that.
Okay, I don't know what anyone heard. Did anyone even hear what I was saying?
Nope.
Start over.
All right.
You were calling list agents.
All right. So I was on the phone with a first-time home buyer. A listing agent reached out to me. Our offer was accepted out of 10 offers. Our offer was also an FHA offer. So that stigma that FHA is bad and you're going to get overlooked because you're FHA, that is obviously false if you're dealing with a truly vetted great agent, because they're going to see through that noise. Ours was accepted, though, to Matt's point, over an escalation clause. FHA, they had to go FHA because for whatever reason it suited their needs, but they have flexibility. And in the event that, when you have these housing or these prices that are going up, listing agents want to know, in the event that I know that this market is going, people are throwing money at homes right now. If the appraisal doesn't come in high enough, because I know that the comps really aren't supporting it, they wanted to know, is this escalation clause to ensure this low appraisal? If should it happen, can we back it up? And the answer was yes. So, so there's lots of things that are going on that are going to set you apart from everyone else. So no, there is not going to be any offers, even on a for sale by owner. Again, our buyer took the lead, got the offer accepted, even on a for sale by owner. And there was 3 offers on a for sale by owner. I mean, so you really have to just go in best foot forward always, and just have your ducks in a row. And that's kind of what we do here at Capital Mortgage Funding, to the best of our ability, is to kind of get everyone ready for success.
Yeah, John Kolb's chomping, but Matt Bush, you work with Lisa Lawson now for a very long time. And on this podcast right now, just in mortgage professionals, you've got over 120 years experience. Matt Bush, what is the reason why that when Lisa Lawson writes you an approval letter, when you take it to that listing agent, what do they say about that?
Having the name, Capital Mortgage Funding, this company's been here for decades. This company isn't going anywhere. There are so many mortgage companies, to just ABC Realty or Joe Schmo Realty, just because you have a pre-approval letter doesn't mean anything. And when you look at the pre-approval letter, especially from Capital Mortgage Funding, it says, we verified the assets. We've been through initial underwriting. That is a verification that in 2 weeks, when it's time to close after the appraisals come back, there's not going to be some, oops, sorry, we can't get the money. We can't fund this loan. Having a solid bank behind the pre-approval letter is what often breaks the tie, because the reputation of the bank lets the listing agent know that, hey, they can go to the seller and say, hey, listen, I know that this letter tells me that this offer is valid. We might have 10 offers, but I've only got 1 or 2 offers that are from banks that I've worked with, that are reputable, that I know at the end of the day are they're going to deliver this buyer. So these are the 2 offers out of all 10 that I have most confidence in.
Yeah, Lisa Lawson, go ahead. And you put your heart and soul in this business every day. You take everything personally. I mean, our business is personal, right? It's just business, but not with us. It's personal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are people's livelihoods, their homes. Sometimes it's their life savings that they're working with. They're looking for a place for their family, their children. How do you not take that personally? How do you not want to do your best to make sure that they're going to be in the best position they can be, whether it's upgrading, downgrading, whatever their situation or scenario may be. So, I absolutely do take it to heart. I think we all do. I think we all want what's best for our clients. And I think that's why we've all been in business for a really long time. We take the time to do a true approval. Now, some clients are easier. You can look at their stuff and have an approval done in a few moments and know that it's going to be a good loan. Other people have different situations and scenarios, and we have to work through all that and get documentation and make sure that everything lines up. We run it through automated underwriting engines. We send these approvals. We've done all the verifications, because when we send an approval letter to Matt or any one of Matt's colleagues, then we want to know that that is going to close, that they have full confidence that this isn't a question, that this is going to happen. So. Well,
I appreciate that, Lisa. It's a total team effort, Matt, as you know, and we have a lot of go-to people here. John, you've been chopping. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that, there's nothing better than when a listing agent gives me a call to verify, our pre-approval. We had one the other day where the guy went in with a 3% offer. And, he said, why does he have to go in with a 3% offer? And I said, because you asked him to raise his appraisal guarantee to 10 grand. So we're erring on the side that this house doesn't appraise. He's going to have to come up with 10 grand, dollar for dollar, penny for penny, because the house won't appraise, and we have to adjust for that. So does he normally have his 10% down payment all day long? But guess what? If he's got to do that 10 grand guarantee, then I'm going to pre-approve him at 3% down to make sure that we've got him covered every angle that we can. And the listing agent was very happy to hear that, to know that we had a backup plan in the event that it didn't work out with the offer and where the appraisal guarantee was going to come from. So, it's important for that kind of stuff to happen. We want to make sure that everybody's covered and that you're downsized risk managing, right? Playing devil's advocate and saying, hey, in the worst case scenario, here's what it's going to look like for you. Are you still comfortable?
And I think
when you mix knowledge and expertise, Harvey Freed and Matt Bush, when you mix knowledge and expertise and then personal service and caring, Harvey Freed, you're big on that. You're going back into offices now. I mean, COVID's not scaring you anymore. You've been vaccinated. You're going to wear a mask. You're going to your closings. Doesn't it mean more when you can sit face-to-face at a closing, when you work with somebody for 3, 4, 5 weeks, when you walk into an office, and Matt, I'll let you answer after Harvey expands on his answer, but doesn't it mean more when you show up now to a closing?
Yeah, I think so. I think the passion will come through when you show up to a closing, when you're meeting people, you're willing to meet families face to face, whether or not they're comfortable with it or not, at least that option is there. And I think it's very important to really learn a little bit more about the family's future plans. As we've spoke about in this conversation, and Matt shared with us, a lot of the families that bought, even in the last 18 months, have this built-in equity now. So who you just met might have now that opportunity to move it up and get that forever home, or the home they want to raise their kids in, better school district, more room, the office space they need now. So the pandemic has taken us away from those face-to-face, and hopefully now we're getting back to a little bit more of the face-to-face and learning how we can help families maximize their profit on their house when they sell, and of course their goals for their future of their family.
Excellent. Matthew Bush?
Yeah, and I think this kind of all circles back to where we started. You know, a lot of people these days are still coming with the idea that you need to put 20% down to get your conventional loan. And just by having a consult, you can say, hey, you know, if you're a first-time buyer, we can do a 3% conventional, 3.5% FHA. We can do a second, you know, if you've already bought a home, we can do a 5% conventional to really put that money back in their pocket. You break down the break-even point of that, you know, what a PMI costs on 5% versus 20%. And back to John's point, that allows that appraisal guarantee. If I'm thinking I'm going to have to put down 40 grand on a $200,000 house, but now I only have to put down, you know, 10. Well, hey, I now have $30,000 in my pocket. I can make sure I can get into that home because I'm comfortable with that appraisal guarantee. I'm comfortable in making a move now because I've talked to my, they've given me the numbers. I've got an agent that I've worked with that's advised me on the whole program. Just by having that 15 to 20 minute conversation, I know the loan programs now that I'm better equipped and I'm a better buyer for it.
Excellent. Excellent advice. Listen, we're going to go around the horn, give the last word. We're brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender, NMLS number 2289. Directed and produced Roberto Boucher. He's our producer director every week. So around the horn, we're going to go. Last word, Becky Alley.
Listen, it's beautiful out. And I said it before, it's beautiful outside. And there's also nothing more beautiful than owning your own home. Get out there. It makes sense. If it makes sense for you and you're able to do it, give us a call. And even if you don't want to give us a call, even if you want to give someone else a call, do that. I mean, you need to put yourself in the best financial position if you can. Rates are still really low. A lot of people are capitalizing on cash out refi still. So if they're not going to go and they're going to stay, we can help you out with that too. And we're looking forward to taking any and all of your calls.
Beautiful. Lisa Lawson.
Yeah, same thing. We're here to help the best way we can, whether that's getting you approved for a new home, a vacation home, take cash out, lower your rate, lower your term. We do all of it. It's a residential mortgage. We're your people. Give us a shout. We'll be happy to help. And if you're looking for a great agent, there's a lot of people like Matt that we refer to that have a lot of experience. And so we can help you with that too.
Mr. John Kolb.
Harry Legal just texted me and told me that anytime you say around the horn, you got to pay royalties to ESPN. So, you know, you watch it.
Hey, why not? I pay royalties here. I'll pay royalties to them.
There you go. Perfect. So no, it's, hey, just happy to be still out there grinding, get back to normal people. Like Harry said, don't be afraid of this stuff. The vaccine's out there if you choose to get it or not. Get back out, enjoy life, do what you need to do, and let's keep living.
Mr. Harvey Freed, the host with the most hardcore mortgage real estate business show, heard every Saturday morning on 97.1 FM from 9 to 10. Our guest this week is going to be Matt Bush. Harvey, what do you got?
My final thoughts are, Harry, as I talk to all the great agents out there in Southeast Michigan and across the country where I'm doing mortgages in Florida and here in Michigan, the top agents are reaching out to me and they're sharing some angst and their problems are getting those return phone calls when they make an offer. Even though they're overbidding on the house, they're telling me that a lot of the new agents are having trouble getting back to them and they're missing out on how important the communication is. As Matt Bush told me when I first met him, it's not that you've been in the business for 30 years or 20 years. It's, do you have 5 minutes to call me back right now so I can help this family move forward? And Matt, I'll never forget you told me that. Forget about the guy who says, I've been doing this for 30 years. Do you have 5 minutes to spare to call me and move forward with this transaction? I like that.
Excellent. Excellent point of view, Harvey Freed. Matthew Bush, you get the last word on today's segment of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show podcast. What do you got, my man?
Listen, sellers are kings and queens right now. And as Harry always says, rates aren't going down. Buying power isn't going up. So if you even considered selling a house, there has never been a better time, maybe in American history, since World War II to do so. So even if you're not sure about where you're going next, now is the time to contact your real estate professional, sit down, discuss what your house is worth, what you could possibly get with that house, and put your family, whether it's a trade up, a trade down, or if you got grandkids or whatever your circumstances, there's never been a better time to contact your real estate broker and see what is in store for you.
Listen, everybody out there, this has been a great high energy podcast today, Wednesday, April 7th, 2021 here. Capital Mortgage Funding powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender, 2289 NMLS. How'd I do, Liz? Liz is our corporate counsel. She listens in sometimes. Couldn't be better advice from a panel that, I don't care what Matt Bush says, experience matters. Experience matters. If they're not calling you back, they're not successful, period. End of discussion. Experience matters, especially navigating a tricky, crazy, hot, multiple bid, high price, low listing environment that we were in. It was just 12 short years ago, when we were coming out of a major recession. Okay, this is on the flip side of that. There are pitfalls in every market you have to stay away from, but you have to be prepared. The panel that is in front of you on this podcast today and that you hear every week on Harvey Freed's Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 97.1, we will give you accurate versus inaccurate information. Why is it called hardcore? Because sometimes we say things and give answers that people don't want to hear. Sometimes the truth is hard for people to understand, but that's all we're going to do. We're going to stay honest. We're going to give it to you straight, and we're going to give you all the information. So for our panel, Matt Bush, real estate agent extraordinaire, host Harvey Freed of 97.1 FM Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, Lisa Lawson, Becky Alley, John Kolb, producer director Roberta Beauchesne. I'm Harry Glanz, and I want to thank you very much for listening and watching us. Appreciate it.